You should never tell anyone your goals and what you're working on. There's a quote that's, older than, I can even remember, that is, talk is cheap. There's a cheap dopamine that you get by talking about something. Let's say you have this goal, you're telling your friends, your mom, your dog, whoever, right? You're just talking about this and you keep talking about it as if it's being done, but in reality, you're doing nothing to actually make it happen. If you've watched any of my videos, the biggest thing that I talk or preach about is really the idea of taking massive action, because really that is the pathway to freedom. And I've noticed this in my own life where I'm telling my friends about this business I'm going to start, this thing that I'm going to do. Each time that I talk about it wears at the idea of me actually taking action. If you are truly wanting to be effective in your life, I suggest to you that the moment that you get an idea, that you keep it to yourself for a little while. Let you simmer and think about it first, start taking action, and then talk about it. People do this the opposite way around. They sit around, they talk about it, they think about it, they're talking to their friends and looking for this external validation, when really the validation that they need is the action that needs to take place to see if it's a good idea or not. Because you can sit and theorize all day, should you do this or shouldn't you do that? But it's until that you actually start putting things into place to where it'll start to manifest and the thing that you want will start to come to pass. Like I said a moment ago, that cheap dopamine that you get by talking about it, and I'm sure you've felt this before, right? Because in the beginning you're excited about it, but as you continuously talking about it and going over it, what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and when it happens it's going to be like this, and it's like maybe not at all, because you don't know, because you haven't actually done it before. And it really is all about just having a sober mind and a sober thought about your goals, and actually going forward and proving to yourself that this thing is actually going to happen. And so that's something that really held me back a long time for reaching my goals, is that especially, I like to talk, clearly, right? I have 2 YouTube channels, right? So talking is not something that I, like to stray away from. And even in my journey of doing sales, I noticed that for myself as well. Even like I was saying in the sales situation, to where I have had to learn to even be quiet and not talk as much, because I realized that talking wasn't actually helping the situation, but listening. Even when you just start to change your whole life around, because yes, I was talking about goals, but really this works in a lot of areas of your life, is that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? So we can listen obviously twice as much as we talk, because you learn much more by just listening, and you learn even more by action. The act of talking really sometimes even comes from a place of anxiety and worry, rather than this fake confidence, right? Because you talk about it as if it's going to happen, but you don't know if it's going to happen or not, because you put no work in. And so that's something that you can really look at any time throughout your life, especially as a young man. I know for myself, the calmness that I hopefully exude now, that came by trial and error and years and years of talking about goals and not actually meeting them. And I had to really be faced with myself in a very interesting way, to where I told myself, look, Amir, you cannot talk anymore. Don't talk about your goals with no one, but not for any reason because I want to keep anything from my friends or my loved ones, but it's because I understand that for me, the more I talk, the less gets done. Again, this is cheap dopamine. You're just talking, mowing over what you're gonna do, but never actually make it happen. It's just like you're starting a workout plan and you're like, oh, when I get to, when I get ripped or when I get abs and I do all this stuff, you're just talking. Again, this is cheap. You're filling your mind with this cheap dopamine. And that's really, you're not even going to a whole different video idea, but that's really just based on because of social media. Social media has made us this way. TikTok after TikTok, scrolling, grabbing your attention, talking about you should do this, or you should try this, or try this, or try this, or try this and do that, right? It's all this stuff saying try this and do that. And I'm guilty of this. You save it in your saved videos and you never actually do anything because just hearing about it was good enough and that felt like action. And that's really the thing that I'm trying to kind of communicate and get across, that even hearing something about something that you should do feels like action because you've processed it in your brain. And really, your mind cannot tell the difference between you talking about what you're going to do or even listening about something you should do rather than actually doing it. So that's why you have to be super careful on what you process in your mind and the things that you say you're going to do. The easiest way that you can really cut this out of your life is just the moment that you have an idea, you start working on it the moment that it comes in your mind, and then you start to go after it. And then that's how eventually you'll start to truly build confidence, believe in yourself, and do the things that you actually say you want to achieve.